Hello friends, let's move on to the next letter of our alphabet, which is the letter J. As most of you know, my name is Miss Johnson, and my name begins with the letter J, so I am very excited for this project today. The materials you're going to need is your white piece of paper. You're going to need something to write with. You're going to need some paint brushes. For my younger friends, you're going to need some liquid glue. You're going to need some paints. And you're going to need a bunch of these puzzle pieces. So mom and dad, if you have a throwaway puzzle that's missing a lot of pieces, this is a perfect time to use that for an art project. It's going to get messy and then it's probably going to get thrown away. For my younger friends, we are going to be gluing these pieces onto your paper. For my older friends, we are going to be doing paint stamping with these pieces. So there's two different ways that you can do this project, and I'm going to show you how to do both ways. First, you're going to need something to write with, and we are going to draw the letter J in the middle of the paper. Your letter J starts at the top, goes down, and makes a hook at the bottom. So we are going to go down and make a hook to the left. Is it to the left? To the right. When you are writing it, you're going to make the hook to the left. I was correct. And it also needs a top hat. So we are going to draw a nice big line for your J's top hat. And this is what your J should look like. Now when you're all done with that, we are going to move on to J for jigsaw. Jigsaw is another name for a puzzle. So the first thing I'm going to show is for my younger friends, we are going to be gluing your little puzzle pieces onto your J paper. So I am going to take my glue, I'm going to put a small dot on the back side, and I'm going to lightly press it onto my paper. And I want to be very careful because I don't want them to slide all over. So I'm going to leave my paper on the table. And I'm going to continue this step with all of my pieces on one side of the paper. Again, you don't need a lot of glue, just one big dab, and you're going to press it and leave it. You absolutely need your glue to dry. You don't want to move it around too much because then it won't dry, and then your puzzle pieces won't stick very well. Mom and dad at home, if you are watching and helping the little ones with this project, by little ones I mean ages 2 to 4 up to our pre-K class, they should all be doing this project instead of the stamping. Make sure that they're using the glue by themselves. It doesn't matter if they use a ton of it. Try to help guide them in the correct direction so that they're not overdoing it with the glue. But I know how they can get, so make sure you're at least watching them, but let them do it themselves so that they can learn to use their hands and their hand dexterity properly. Okay, I'm going to glue one more piece on here, and then I'm going to move on to the big kids, which is doing puzzle stamping. So now I have one side of all my jigsaw pieces all over the paper, and they're all glued down. Now I'm going to sit and let that dry. For my big kids, I'm going to show you how to do a puzzle stamp. This is something that we do with a lot of objects and paint. It is the same technique, the same process. It's a little tricky because jigsaw pieces are really little. So I'm going to find an end that I can hold on to with one finger. I'm going to take my paint and I'm going to tap it onto the jigsaw piece. Yes, my fingers are going to get messy, and that is a-okay. You're going to tap it on there, not too much since it's only a small piece. Then you're going to gently place it on the paper. I don't know if you can see it there. Press. Then this hand's already messy, so I'm going to use my other hand that's not messy to carefully pull the jigsaw piece off the paper. Now this I'm going to throw away. These you can only use about one time. They are very, very absorbent, and that means they're going to soak up the paint really fast. So you want to make sure that you're only using one piece per stamp. And I know that seems like a lot, it seems like a very tedious process, which it is, but in the end it's going to look really, really cool. What's nice about doing this instead of gluing them on is you can pick whatever colors you would like. You can do rainbow colors, you can do one or two colors. It's completely up to you guys as to how many colors you want to do. But again, you need a different piece for every single stamp you plan on doing. So far I did 2 red ones. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some yellow ones. Again, same process, tap, tap, tap. I probably should have cleaned my fingers first before I went and did the yellow because I sort of made it orange. Going to release, press onto the paper very gently. And then with the clean hand, you want to take the puzzle piece off. You don't want to use your yicky hand, the yellow piece. You don't want to use the paint hand because what's going to happen is if you try to pick up that puzzle piece on the white piece of paper with messy hands, all of this is going to go on the paper. And then you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what happened? So, only use one hand to paint, and then use your clean hand to take the puzzle pieces off of the paper when you're done with them. Another thing you could also do or try, depending on how fast you plan on doing your project, you could do all of the puzzle pieces, paint them, leave them on the paper, and then when you're all done with them, clean your hands and then try to take the puzzle pieces off. However, you might run into them accidentally getting glued to the paper through the paint. So I don't recommend doing it that way, but if you would like to try it and save time, that's completely up to you guys. Next, I'm going to move on to some of my darker colors here. I have messy fingers and I have nothing to wipe them with. That was my own fault, so I'm going to make sure I wipe them off a little bit. Let's see, the next color I'm going to move on to green. I have 2 more colors to do. Green's going to be a bit messier. Tap, tap, tap. I don't need as much on the green because it's a darker color. Press. And again, using my clean hand. And do another piece. Now I'm moving pretty fast. This might take you a bit longer than it is taking me. And that's okay. Take your time. Make sure your project looks the way you want it to. Hopefully you can use lots of different colors and you have lots of puzzle pieces that you can work with. I only have 4 colors here. Like I said, you can use as many or as few as you want. If you want all of your puzzle pieces from your jigsaw puzzle to be purple, then make them all purple. That is completely up to you guys at home, and it depends on what sort of paints you have at home. Please make sure you are using washable paint. Do not try to do this with watercolor. It will not show up with watercolor. With the puzzle pieces, your jigsaw pieces, being so absorbent, meaning they like to soak up water and paint, the watercolor is not going to transfer back onto the paper like you think it will. So please make sure you're using your regular washable paints at home. Okay, I have one more to do and then I can show you the finished product here. And my last one. As you can see, my fingers are getting very messy. It would have been a lot smarter for Miss Johnson to have some baby wipes or something nearby, but I did not think that far ahead, and that was my mistake. So I'm being very careful. And press. I've got one more spot to fill, so let's fill that one spot and then call it a day. So this piece is very tricky to hold on to. And again, when you're applying your paint, make sure you're tapping, not brushing. The tapping will actually allow the paint to pool and fill on your puzzle piece a lot better than if you were to try and stroke it, because what happens is when you brush it, you're actually brushing most of the paint off of it, which is not what you want to do. You want the paint to be all gloppy and goopy on your puzzle piece, like so. Perfect. And now you can see the two final different sides. This one we used the paint stamping technique. This one we just glued the puzzle pieces onto. It is your decision which idea you would like to do. You can even do a combination of the two. Try both out. Get experimental. It's completely up to you. Try to do this project on your own. I know it's a little tricky for some of my bigger kids because the pieces are so small, but I think you guys can do it. And at home you might have some bigger pieces than I do here, but this is the idea. This is what it should look like, and don't forget, J is for Jigsaw. Thanks guys for watching. I'm gonna go clean up now. Tune in for the next video, which is going to be on the letter K. Bye guys, see you tomorrow.